Let's go.
Tagatoro merch, my guy. What's happening, man?
Nah, I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
Let's catch a vibe. You got your drink ready?
Yeah. You know what? Let me just pour something in my cup over here.
I got
You
you.
know what I'm
While,
saying?
while you do that, we gonna give them a little listen. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Nah, we're chilling.
Alpha.
Cheers, my G.
If you're here, then it has to be. I've been clocking in the hours for the mastery. Come and step into my world, no fantasy. If you want, you can do a little dance for me. Before we go so high, no gravity. If your hands ain't high, you a casualty. You can try, honey fingers in the sky, I'll fly. Hit it for the top, and they wanna know
Headed
why.
for the
Got my
top, and
hands
they
up
wanna
high,
know
like I never
why.
touched sky. Told me don't try, I replied I'll fly. Never gonna stop, I'ma do it till I die. If you wanna ride high, I'll fly, I'll fly. Yeah, sempre singi sabafana. Pese pese mapinda munongo kwana. Hashudishe kumanya. Letibata mwana. Got banana. For me, I gave it all. I had to pick myself up, they would never see me fall. Learning that the
What
grind
up?
is where you stop and you get tall. Life coming full circle. I'm bouncing over walls, okay? New game, old problems. Trying to get paid. Same name, new province. Finding my way. I've been grinding through the night and I don't stop for the day. Man, I think I found a path. I'm walking the way. Better put the past behind me. They don't know what to say. They were stealing from my life. Now they know I don't play. Now I'm walking into sunsets. Can't beg me to stay. I got up high right up from under them. So get out my way and get your hands up high like you never touched sky. Told me don't try. I replied I'll fly. Never gonna stop. I'ma do it till I die. If you wanna ride high, I'll fly. I'll fly. Yeah. Kusini sabakana. Pese pese mapinda munongo kwana. Hajudishe kumanya. Natibata mwana. Take a banana. Open ambition. Cooking beams in the kitchen. Trying to focus the vision. They don't see what they missing. Living day to day. Hustling for step.
Yo, that jam is crazy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. A lot of fun making that one.
That jam is crazy. So what's happening, man? What's going on, man? Clearly a lot.
Oh man, 2023 has been the best year of my life.
You and me both, man. It's been a wild one, but it's been the best.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it this way. Think of it like all of the steps of the previous years, all the things that we were doing way before, the building, the growing, the mistakes, the successes, and this and that. It all kind of rolled into a ball and then like started going down the hill all at the same time. And then it was just like blessings on blessings on blessings.
That's definitely. I mean, I had
That's
like
pretty
the
much been the
worst.
year.
It went from being the worst to the best, like just day and night. It was nuts, bro.
Yeah. I know when it's good, it's good.
So when are
We
you
give
dropping the
thanks.
album? That's what we want to know. When are you dropping the album? You know that meme? Drop the album, nigga. Where's the
The album's
album?
coming out next year,
Cause I
2024.
you definitely are like the guy who has like 5 projects just waiting, ready to go. You know. So
Well,
if
you know
you
what? What's interesting is because I write a lot of songs, you can group them into different kinds of projects if you want to. Um, Next year's project, like the album that's coming out, is a collection of songs that I've been writing for several years.
yeah.
And we got to improve a lot of those songs while we were performing with the band this year. But the band already recorded 8 songs. So technically, I mean, if I just wanted to just be like, yo, here's,
That's a real
but
quick.
actually, I want to add on to more of that. I actually want to add more experience, more story, more nuance, more energy, more vibe. So we're going to record the last half of the album, somewhere around maybe January, and then close to maybe May. I'm thinking album dropping.
In terms of music, what I wanted to ask you though was like, cause you know we had the whole shoebox, you know, Kajira, Chi Chi Chi, wardrobe here and there, this and that. You like everyone who's made music, you know that vibe. But what's it like now when you're in the studio? Does it give you more of like a confidence feeling, or is it more like I wish I had enough time, or as more time as I really wanted to just come in here and play around, or it's like assassin
Um,
mentality? Each take is time taking because studios like we're paying by the hour. So
yeah.
have you done it 100 times over before you go there? Then it's like, okay, when I'm there, I have an hour to spare, so I'm gonna do what I do. Or it's like,
That's a really good question.
yeah,
So the reason why I have a technodrome where I am here is my little private studio, right?
yeah,
I have recording equipment here, and the purpose of having control is so that I can make the ideas whenever I feel like it.
yeah,
So I practice all the songs all the time. Like I create new ideas all the time. All I have to do is switch on the microphone.
yeah,
And then whatever's in my head, I can literally create it in that moment, right then and there. By the time I get to the studio, all of the people who are also involved in that process have already heard my ideas.
yeah.
They already know what they're going to contribute to the idea. And then once we get into the room, it's literally just, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then everybody goes.
Let's go, go, go.
Yeah, but the process of like creation right now, I wouldn't say that it's hard in any way because I've been doing it for so long, and yeah, the repetition.
Muscle memory.
Exactly.
All right, so we go from the studio. Now, from the time that me and you were performing was a laptop. No
Mm.
band, no band. And then the next time I see this dude, he's like, I mean, I didn't get to see the band, but I've seen enough videos. Please go check out his YouTube page. It'll be in the comments or whatever. The link will be there. But I've seen the band behind and the energy. Because there's a science
Yeah.
to like doing it with a band. Timing.
Yes.
Is your voice there? Is it sitting with the other instruments? Is one instrument too loud or not? Timing of how long your set is going to be, all these kinds of things. So,
Oh
what's it
yeah.
like being performing with the band and just at all these different venues? Because it's crowd work too. Sometimes you go somewhere and people are
Oh
just
yeah.
naturally in the vibe, and then you go to another joint and it's like, okay, you know,
It's a different vibe. It's a different audience, right?
yeah. So,
It's such a layered question. Um, so at the beginning of kind of going on the festival run that we did, I got to like really sit in the room with the band and like get to know the musicians and like get to know the people who I was going to be like going on the road with, right?
yeah,
And in terms of timing, Richard Brown, who's my drummer, is one of the most incredible drummers I've ever heard in my life. That guy is the linchpin. The timing, my cadence.
he's on it.
I told him I was like, most of my show is me having an argument with you
I will say though, like
because
musically,
when he's kicking,
that's what
I'm
matters.
panting.
That's what matters because people want to catch that vibe. So it's like the kick and your voice and the vibe. It's just that's what it comes down to those two
It
most of
comes
the
from the
time.
drummer, and
Yeah,
then all of the other instruments are incredible embellishments. They're melodies, they're synths, it's guitar, it's vibe, it's that bass. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But most of the energy of the show comes from the drummer and myself as the artist because standing in front of Richard Brown is like being chased by a lion. And he's behind me, and his energy is so. I'm like, what's going on? And it's huge energy, and he gives me that, and then I take that, I punch it at the crowd, and then the crowd gives me back, and then we rocking, and then we moving.
yeah.
So from venue to venue, what it's been is introducing myself to people who've never heard me before.
Yeah.
And my goal is always if I can get one person in the crowd who is standing still like this to just go start moving a little bit.
That's
I've
it.
got you. You're
That's it.
dead. It's over.
We're done. That's all it takes.
Yeah, that's always been my challenge, and especially introducing myself as a new artist. And I've succeeded on many occasions.
What would you say is your favorite song to perform right now?
Right now, probably Grow.
I was gonna say Grow. Grow has got that vibe.
I Man, I
Yeah.
can't tell you. It's a song I usually play at the end of my show as like a dismount. And if you've done a good job for most of the show, when you hit that final, like when Grow starts and it goes boom,
Yeah.
people immediately light up. They know it's their last chance to dance. People start coming from all kinds of corners and they're like, okay, let's go. And then, oh man, the energy is so fun.
It gets
It's
wild.
fire. Grow's my favorite right now.
So what do our goals look like for the next 5 years? Do we want a record
Next
deal?
5 years.
Do we want what do we want in the next 5 years?
That's interesting. The music industry right now is evolving.
It always is.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's in flux, like currently changing, currently moving with all the social media, all the new ways and innovations and ways people are interacting and streaming this and there's so many factors to consider as an artist, right?
Hmm.
To think in the next 5 years, where would I be is to also think 5 years ago, TikTok didn't exist.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes.
So it's hard to kind of plan in an environment where something can pop up that can literally shake the entire industry
I'll give
overnight,
you like
almost.
a wave of what I'm saying. You know this whole ceiling challenge that's been going on. I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
I've seen one or two.
Shout out to Kiki Badass by the
I don't
way.
understand what's going on.
Ah, Kiki tukukona.
I've seen one or
Ah,
two.
ndikuda kukumepo tikumuona Kiki. But that song I believe has been out for a while now. And then it just happened to be like some Asian chick who wasn't even doing the most. You know what I mean? She just happened to put her phone up there, still sugandiro doing the dishes and all that. And then next thing you know, there's a whole challenge. So like
Listen, man, trends,
your
they just start
artistry, my
so
point is
easily just like that.
yeah, my point is the artistry could have been already there or could have been done so that even if all these things come into the way, you know, the music speaks for itself. Because to quote Davido, you know, I've been fucking with this album the whole year, but timeless. That's the thing. No matter what happens, even MJ and all these, it's a thing, bro. Music made in the 90s. A challenge you can start today or
Well,
tomorrow.
this is one of the analogies I was always talking to you about creating the chicken.
The chicken.
All right, let me give it to you again, right?
Yeah.
So I own a restaurant.
Yeah.
My job is to make food,
Yeah.
right? So we make the chicken. Once I know my recipe is like this, it's deep fried, it's a schnitzel, it's a stew, it's a this, it's a that, it's a burger, it's a whatever you want. We make the chicken,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we prepare, we the table, we set the table, you put the music out, you put the chicken out, and you invite the people to come in and enjoy. Once you've already made the chicken, once you've already made the food,
Yeah.
you've already made a track.
Yeah.
Once you give it to people, it's up to them to decide what they're going to do with it or how they're going to like it or how they're going to enjoy it. And if you've made a good piece of art, it translates forever. The same way we've been making the same recipes in food forever. Do you know what I'm saying?
I was talking to Junior. He called me up when I was at work. We spoke for like an hour.
Big shout out to JR Atlas.
Shout out to JR Atlas.
Yo, 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 yo.
Pessimistic Gemini. It's
That's my
another
guy.
one. Go check it out. And we were talking about Drake when he dropped For All the Dogs and how Joe Budden, he's like, yo, I know Joe Budden is your guy. And I'm not like, I don't really watch that guy, da, 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 but I know you know what's going on. What's the beef? What's really going on with Drake? And I was trying to explain to him like, let's take from views, Drake from views to Drake
Mm.
now on for all the dogs. There's a lot of good music that's in those projects, but the content, you know what I mean? When Joe's like, yo, why are you still telling me about throwing pills into a 25-year-old's drink? And why are you still salty about Rihanna? Like, we're starting to question some of these things that you're talking about.
The message in the music.
The message. So, yes, you could have the formula for your chicken, you know what I mean? And
Mm.
if it can
The
withstand
recipe.
time, yeah, that recipe has proven to withstand time. So are we saying in the next 5 years the recipe for that chicken will be exactly what that is and we keep replicating it going on? Or there's a certain stage like, okay, my chicken right now is fried chicken, but I'm trying to get to Cajun chicken, you know what I mean? Where it's got the pepper and the
Mm.
this and that and the
Right.
seed.
That's actually, I understand what you're asking me.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
And with the band, that actually is what creates more of that timeless recipe, because the way in which the band performs, the elements that they're using, the genres that we're borrowing from,
Yeah.
whether it's jazz elements or Afrobeat elements, or we've got a pop, we've got all kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
These are recipes that have always existed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're listening to Grow, there's a saxophone player, but I'm rapping.
Yeah.
How many hip hop songs do you hear with saxophones and um, and all kinds of instrumentations and crazy guitars and things like that, right? Hip hop for a long time has just been 808s and those big deep. Like right now, we're listening to trap music. We're listening to all kinds of like drill, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
None of those genres use live instrumentation.
Yes and no.
The recipe. Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I know you're right there, but most of the stuff that's popular, that's kind of in the mainstream right now,
Yeah.
doesn't use those instruments, because it's kind of hard to put it all together.
And it's
But
just
if you
like
can
they don't
put
care.
put it together in a way that it sounds really good, those recipes have been tried, true, and tested. And I think that even in the next 5 years, you can still play an Alpha Centauri record and be like, "Yo, that's still fire."
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like to support your point, like you listen to, like I've seen what's his name, Chief Keef. Like they had this whole Red Bull orchestra thing that they were doing, and they were taking all these records. Like he had
Yeah.
never performed with the orchestra. They gave him the whole joint, and they learned like the music and everything, and he performed it. Did it feel the same as like him being in an arena on stage with huge ass speakers behind him? No. But like there was still a vibe to the orchestra. So like that music to support again your point, like if you look at Burner Boy when he was doing that, and then now to
Oh,
the
look
music
at
he's
Burna Boy's
making,
shows, man.
selling out
A
arenas,
live instrument,
yo,
it sounds different, bro. It feels different. You have to be there to experience it.
he's harder than Grease right now. Dude was just in
Oh
everything. I
man,
just
just
seen him.
just the live show
But
when you have a band backing you,
he's making
it's huge.
music that goes with that vibe. That's the important thing.
Mm.
Yeah, he has that
No,
Cajun
no, no.
chicken.
Actually, no. That's you've got it the wrong way around.
Burner's
Take it from
definitely
me.
doing
Take
bad
it from
music.
me. Take it from me. The band is um, supporting what he's making. He's not making something that the band is doing. The band is actually, and that's the incredible flexibility of it. Because when you have a producer who's sitting in a room, one man who makes the entire beat, or maybe has a couple of other people who come in, right? They have whatever knowledge they can have to create, their creativity. But when you have professional musicians, people who studied music, people who are masters of their instruments, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
senseis, and they're like, let's play your stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I'm
bro,
not saying that
it's a different environment.
I'm not saying he's composing all this music, but he has an ear for exactly what he wants. Like even the stuff that he's been
Yeah.
sampling, it's all being traced back to Anafela Kudi and stuff, and he's been
Oh well, yeah. I'm giving him his flowers, saying that yeah,
yeah.
like the band is actually supporting what he's
Oh
doing
yeah, of
because the
course.
band is so musically intelligent
Yeah, yeah.
that he can be like, we're going this way, and they're like, yeah, let's go,
Man, he has this whole thing where he just
and
starts
do it
like,
well.
and he's like just going with the instruments playing. He's not even singing or saying anything. It's just like the
Yeah.
vibe of having that band behind you. So I'm like, ah, okay.
Bro, and I'm sure he's got some incredible people on that team.
And now he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. But okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the 5 year thing. Like you said, music, the vibe that it's in. You know, I was seeing like Meek Mill and Rick Ross, like too good to be true. They were like, oh yeah, it's been reported that they're selling 35K. And then we've been talking this and that. I went and I looked at the credits for the whole project, and
Mm.
it's basically Rick Ross and Meek Mill doing a partnership, right? And they didn't go to a major label. They just looked for a distribution partnership with another whole unknown company that I'm pretty sure they have some kind of ownership with. So
Fair enough.
these are mainstream artists. These are people who've been doing this for a while. Like Rick Ross was connected with Atlantic. In fact, when he found Meek, he took Meek
We
to
know Rose,
Atlantic. Exactly. These were people who were
the
feeding from the
boss.
labels, but now they're choosing to be, I don't want to say independent, but they've taken a whole switch to how the business is working. And these are people who, like, if there's anyone who's gonna make money from the labels, it's them, but they're choosing not to. So what is it that they're seeing about the business and how things have been working, and however long it is, they're like, you know what, let me.
In my limited knowledge, uh, I won't say that I know a lot, but what I'll say is that for artist relationship with the big labels, the dissatisfaction probably comes from what the label wants to take. Because
As one
oftentimes,
of
as
them.
the artist, you're like, I'm in the technodrome here sweating my ass off,
Yeah,
and you gonna take 60%?
damn near the whole thing. I
It's
just
it,
found out.
and then okay, so it can be one thing if like we're splitting $100. They'd be like, all right, I know you did this for me, and yeah, you helped me out, and yeah, okay, cool. But then when you start to look at the sums of money that the artists are able to generate, and then the label's like, we're taking.
Yeah, they'll take.
When you see artists like taking matters into their own hands, it's because they now have enough money to do the same thing that the labels can do.
Yeah.
And then they're asking the labels, so why do I need you? I went to a talk with Cardinal Official. He had just been announced as the new A&R president, I think for Def Jam, and he was asked this question as well, and he was like, "Look, I stand on both sides because I'm an artist, and I'm now also in the background with the labels too."
Yeah.
And he admitted it. He was like, "I talk to artists these days, and I asked them, do you really need to go to the label? Because maybe you have your own movement, you have your own people, your own sound, your own thing. Back in the day when Cardinal Official was coming up, the label was responsible for creating all your marketing and your hype. Now with social media and how people are going viral overnight and things like that, all the things that the labels used to be responsible for, people can now do on their own.
Yeah.
And now there's this weird disconnect where the labels are now expecting you to do what they now used to do and be like all those big um like famous viral artists before they even want to have a conversation with you. So the artists are looking at themselves and they're like, listen,
Cool. Why do we really?
maybe we can just do this ourselves.
No, I was going to say.
I think maybe my best guess in my limited knowledge.
I was going to say. I just learned that Jay-Z gave up 100% of his publishing for Hard Knock Life. So that's one of his biggest hit songs. You know what I mean? But
Love it.
I get why he did it because the business side was messed up, but it was so good of a song. He knew like, yo, this song is gonna
He
take,
would rather sacrifice it
yeah, it's gonna put
and
me on
let
the
people
map,
hear it, and then it would help him.
elevate and do other things. So labels, like you're saying, Cardinals, like, yo, know what monster you're dealing with, because when you walk in there, don't expect these guys to do the work for you and do everything and change everything. No, these guys are there to make money from you. You have to understand
Yeah,
what kind of a monster you're dealing with. And then you need
yeah,
to figure out how to transition. Because you can go in there, give up 100% publishing all your music, and then the next thing you know, you're getting shelved and you haven't gone anywhere. So it's like you need to figure out the game. You need to
exactly.
figure out the puzzle. You know what I mean? The balance. They're not the worst people out there. Pretty close, but it's a stepping stone if you know how to use it.
To answer your question about where I want to be in 5 years, I want my music to be playing in TV, film, video games, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's a distribution.
Um,
Yeah.
I understand the need for artists to tour.
Oh yeah. That's a must.
That's where a lot of their revenue comes from, right?
Yes.
And this is when the 360 deal started getting exposed. Because then the artist started to complain that, but even when I go on tour, you get a portion of my merch, you get a portion of this, you get a portion of this. The labels were inside of everyone's pocket, right?
Yeah.
This is why we like Joe Budden talking about this stuff.
Bro, I went to a Key Glock show last night. Pulled up, you know what I mean, doing my thing, having some drinks. They had the merch table there, right? And it was t-shirts and hoodies. So I was like, yo, how much is the t-shirt? They're like $60. I was like, for a t-shirt, bro. Just like a plain t-shirt, you know what I mean? Just like same t-shirt, you know, you got me and everything. It's like $60. I was like, okay.
Merch.
It's like, how much is the hoodie? It's $100. I was like, all right, so now you have to make the decision. Like, do you love that artist that much to support them and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna pay $100 for this thing, but I really know it's worth like 40 or $50 or $60. You know what I mean? And it's probably not
Yep.
him. It's probably not him pricing this stuff. It's probably management and the people behind it. Like, nah, you know what? If you
We need to make this much off of each
exactly,
piece.
yeah, you know, the money was spending to fly you out to this place and that place and da 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 da. I mean, it's just him and
Yeah,
the
that's why
DJ.
when you're up on stage, you have to make the fans love you.
It's just him and the DJ up there, but I'm like, yo, but what do I mean? At the end of the day, so I'm like, okay, cool. I see what's happening. But you and me are both from Zim, and
Mhm.
my guy, you know what I've been wanting to ask you because obviously you're gonna be partying for a minute. You know, recently, I don't know if you've I know you've seen them. I know you've seen the Secretary General for Triple C. I know you know who I'm talking about. This Chabangu guy who's recalling my MP.
Oh, right.
So, shout out Begotten Son.
Big shout out to Kuda.
Shout out to the big man. He was going in
Kuda
on the guy.
Yeah, Big son. Yeah, that's the OG.
As the OG. He was going in on him. And I was like, but why are you going in on him? Is it because he's doing the same stuff that Chamisa was going to do or supposedly saying is going to happen? Because as much as we want to look at the ruling party and say, yo, these guys do this, that's messed up. They actually have a structure to their whole system. You know what I mean? You just don't end up in certain places out of nowhere. Yes, you might end up in those places because you have certain connections, but there's a structure. For us to even figure out, okay, fine. MP say, what structures did he go through triples? There's no paperwork, there's no background. We don't know okay, but we are Ningi, that person is representing this place. So when the guy started recalling people, I was like, but if he's doing something that brings structure, isn't that what you guys have been fighting to say we're gonna be doing for all these years? Now you have beef with now you have beef with a guy. You know?
Listen, man. I have nothing for you on that one. I was equally as stunned. I watched Zimbabwean news as well. I don't really have any stake in any of the politics going on in Zim. Yeah. So I mean, I follow, I watch what's going on. I don't really say anything, but yo, I was stunned as well. And then
I'm not asking for
so I'm
like
like,
a personal like I'm on this side, I'm on that side. No, I'm just saying looking at the whole situation in general from our
on a
understanding.
strategic level,
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, this. It's almost comically tragic. Like it's hilarious
It's irony.
and also crazy at the same time.
It's ironic.
Because the thing is,
Yeah.
the way he activated the system is legal.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the owners of CCC, because they don't have their own structures, it's really hard to fight him. He just claimed the throne. He just basically showed up and was like, "Yep,
Ndechangu chinichi.
snap." I'm like, what? Hell, bro. Even me, I'm still stunned. I don't understand what's going on. I check the headlines every other morning, and they're like 13 more recalled. I'm like,
13 more.
yo, he's stripping the whole thing. He's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12.
That's the thing, because
He's
I'm
just
only
asking
asking
everyone.
because all
And
these years.
I can't even tell you what the strategy is for him, because the question really then is, after he's recalled these folks and then he's put the rightful people that he wants to do with the structures and etc. The question really is, will the people vote for these people?
Yeah, at the end of the day,
Will they
that's
put
yeah,
them
that's
in positions of, but like at the end of the day, right?
yeah, at the end of the
He's
day.
reforming or trying to put whatever it is that he's trying to put together. But what is the end result? Because as far as we can see, whatever was voted for, these guys didn't even get an opportunity to do anything. They barely got to speak. I don't even think they got to like even warm up the chair.
Yeah, I from the first day, right?
It's very confusing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't. I'm in it.
Well, I'm only asking because it's been what, almost 10 years now where it's been, we're gonna bring this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna. But every time you're pointing a finger, there's been four pointing back. And then now it's coming out that, okay, so you're worried about someone else. Have you really looked at your own whole situation? And then people want to be like, nah, this guy is a scam. He doesn't even know. Da, 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 da. We should get rid of him. Like, but what he's saying makes sense. You know what I mean? He has valid questions on a public platform where if someone does that, if you're the head of a certain party, I expect you to respond. You don't have to go out there and, sit down and do it, but there should be some kind of feedback or response. There's been nothing from the other guy.
Bro, you ever see like the wildest checkmate? Just like a sucker punch that came out of nowhere. Like it was a gap in the matrix that no one was looking at.
Right?
And then someone just went, it just jumped in and just clicked in, and then just jumped the whole thing, bro.
So
Crazy.
for me, that kind of like just gave me a whole perspective. Like, you know what? I had to Chiribo. Because like it's sad that in 2023 we're still having these kind of debates when it should really be something that's worthwhile debate. These are people who've been doing this for years, man. Before you and I's
We're
time.
just arguing about power.
Exactly.
We're not making conversation about like things that can actually work. We're just debating about who's in charge.
Debating about who's in charge, nothing's getting done. It's still the same problems. Which takes me
Well, I
to
mean, no, you need to go back to Zimbabwe because I've heard some things about. This is just me hearing from some of the folks who I've spoken to, uh, who went back recently. I haven't been back in quite a while, but they're like, Isha, there's some places that have been built there. That there's some things there that are nice. in the capital city. But Zimbabwe is not Harare.
Even Guarare
Do you know
Guachu,
what I mean?
like, you know,
Yeah, like I think there's more stuff that can be done even outside the capital city and in the other cities, and bringing all the other cities up and hearing the stories of where people are from, Kumashingo, Kukweru, Kwekwe, Chimanimani, like you know what I'm saying? Who
I'm
are the
not
gangsters out
saying
there? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying there's no progress, but
Mafese Kumtare. Like we want to hear from everybody.
it's like a kupamuno $100 note, and then you say, "Kuti, it's only worth $5." You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to make it as obvious as I want it to be, but what's the true value of whatever it is that's being done? Building new things and infrastructure and a little bit of development, at the end of the day, what's the actual value behind these things? It's kind of like saying you could build a whole new Pomona, you know what I mean, and be like, oh no, that ain't the new thing, now we got a whole new Pomona. But there's only 10% of the entire population who can actually go and utilize that facility and who can afford to be in that facility
That's
and
exactly
enjoy
the
it.
point. That's exactly it. Yeah.
So, what do these things really mean? I'm not saying there's nothing being done. Yes, we know there are things being done, but what is the actual true value behind it? Or are we still, you know what I mean? Still chit chatting and we know okay, Trungo money $5, but you get what I'm saying? That's
Mm.
my beef.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the economics. I'm not an economist. I have a $20 billion Zimbabwean note that I keep posted on the wall just to remind me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I lived through 2008. We were there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, $20 billion,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean anything. So it reminds me that sometimes
That's for me is
what
like,
does
yo,
money mean?
if you're gonna do
What is it? Is
something,
it a real concept? Is it?
right, if you're gonna do something, do it for real. You know, it's just
I
like
have
that whole
20
saying.
billion Zimbabwean dollars right now.
Yeah, like you can give someone $100 or you can go teach them how to fish so that they don't have to depend on you giving them money for the rest of their life. That's all I'm saying. Like, can we actually get like one actual breakthrough to be like, okay, fine, we were here and now we're here. The same way it was like, okay, we got our independence. That's a great move, you know what I mean? Then after that, I was like, okay, land
Mm.
reform. It was messy, this and that. It came with sanctions, but these were great strides. And then somehow, somewhere, we just ended up being like, okay, we are supporting, we are supporting, we are tonga shakad, we are tonga shakad, and it's never really progressed from there. You know what I mean?
Right. I see what you're saying. That our conversation about our own development, but I mean, there's a lot of talk about farming because we were an agrarian nation. We have a lot of farmland, and there's a lot of people doing farming. There's a lot of people doing mining. I mean, if you consider even whatever construction that they've done in Harare, those are projects that are completed that can also be replicated elsewhere in the country. Those are like maybe jobs that are being created. Like we've spoken about how they value trades here in Canada.
Yeah.
People who are skilled laborers who are able to work with tools, build things, etc., etc. When we were educated, when we were coming up, they valued a lot of the office jobs, right? Lawyer,
Yeah.
doctor, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
accountants. Um, they never really said go be an electrician or a carpenter or a builder of anything. I mean, if you could get into that industry, you would probably be going for architect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
just drawing the plans. You're not even like getting your hands dirty. But the people who actually build shit are people who actually get their hands dirty.
So,
And I think even with whatever's being done now, if there was a switch to more like pushing the kids who are out there doing whatever they're doing, feeling hopeless, doing their drugs, etc., etc., and be like, hey, gang, come through. Let's teach you how to do a trade. Let's teach you how to do something. Hey, I admit it's not too much. We'll teach you. We'll show you. and for them to work. Let them build some stuff. Let them build their communities. Let them homes. Let them own stuff. Let them do stuff.
I was
I
listening
think that could be a
to
good start.
I was listening to a panel talk they had probably like 2 months ago, maybe less. It was Nigel Chanakira, I'm sure you know him, the banker, Tendai BT, and Zanu spokesperson, what's his name, Trango or something like that. And
Mm,
he was like, the problem is, you know, if you look at overseas, these countries have industrialized, right? It's stages. Like you can't go from like skipping industrialization to like extraction and processing and then now you're exporting. No, you need the industries to support the whole system. So he was like,
yeah,
yo,
our industries collapsed a long time ago, which was so
exactly.
sad to see.
Yeah, because like there were a lot of things that were being produced in Zim locally, you know what I mean, and they were going all over the world, you know what I mean.
Incredible.
Incredible. And one of them is like, okay, they were like, yeah, so we found, steel and we found certain minerals where we can come up with this. We got lithium, we got platinum, we got all this and that. But do we have the foreign investment to come up and set up these industries out here? You're now you're trying to get you call yourself a banker. Can you go get me 500 million to open up a steel mine over here? No, you cannot. So that's why we're now going to outsource other people. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
is the potential for these things to happen there? Yes, you know what I mean. But it shouldn't take 40 years for a steel mine to be opened in Zim. And if it has taken
Well,
40 years, why are we still taking more time to open up these things? You know what I mean? And then they had this whole Starlink thing where they were like, we're trying to get Elon Musk to come to Zim so he can open up Chi because he needs lithium for his Teslas and all this and that. We're going to bring in foreign investment. So if he comes in there, number one is political climate. That depends if that guy is willing to invest in that country or not. Number two,
mhm.
management. You know what I mean? How does my business manage in that environment? Number three, exportation. You know what I mean? How are you gonna be getting these things in and out? Are they gonna be leaving as a raw product, or are you going to be processing it processing it there back home, and then you actually get the real value for that thing? It's just kind of like fuel, like people mine oil where I work right here, but there's no refinery that's close by. You know where they have to send it? Sometimes to the States. And then that same town that mines the oil pays the highest gas price because the distance from the refinery to that place is long. You get what I'm saying? It's
Mm.
not just like it's globally, but at least they know that we have these structures within the vicinity. It's different if like Zim couldn't process its own steel, but then they send it to like Zambia or they send it to
I'll give you
Mozambique.
an
Or
example of something.
you get what I'm saying?
I'll give you an example of something. Hold on.